Assalamu Alaykum, guys. Alhamdulillah. I hope you guys' Ramadan is going well. I want to share with you guys a reflection that I've had recently. It's an idea I've been thinking about a lot, and it's come to the point where I think I really need to share it, inshallah. So, I've been thinking a lot about the virtue of courage lately. You know, a lot of people talk about the importance of discipline, but I think a very important and honestly almost underrated quality is the quality of courage, being a courageous person. First of all, let's talk about what does courage even mean to begin with. So honestly, I would define courage as there has to be, first of all, an existence of the fear of something. And courage is your ability in that moment to tolerate and overcome that fear and whatever potential consequences you think could come from that fear or that's causing that fear. Whether it's the fear of loss, the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment by your peers, whatever the fear may be that's preventing your action, for you to overcome that and to adhere to the greater virtue in the moment. Because in every moment in our lives, there is a decision that can be made either for the virtue in the moment or for the vice in the moment. And this exists, if you really think about it, in every single moment. There is the good thing that you could be doing, and then there's the opposite of that thing, right? And so courage is overcoming the fear that's stopping you from adhering to those good things in your life in whatever forms they may come in. And so why is courage so important? A lot of times there are small situations that define our life in a big way. And in those small situations, it's not discipline that's going to get you through those situations. Actually, it's having a deep sense of courage to do the right thing in the moments that count the most. For example, you are with your family, okay? And there is a situation that needs to be addressed within your family. And you know how family situations can be. Sometimes it can be really awkward to address certain situations, or you're just kind of like, you know what, this is how things are. Let's not confront people. Let's not kind of deal with the situation. Let's not put it out there. Let's just kind of hush and just work around the situation and all this type of rhetoric, right? When instead, if you address the situation, it could have been solved very quickly. And in fact, everyone would grow from it, right? Even if in the short term, it might cause some turbulence, everyone would grow from it. But in order for you to do this confrontation or to have this conversation, you need courage. You need the ability to push through and tolerate that uncomfortability of, oh my gosh, this is just going to cause so much awkwardness and just a bad reaction, and I don't want to see all of that, and I don't want to deal with all of that. But you need to have the courage to be able to have those difficult conversations so that you can achieve the long-term result of growth emotionally and harmony, etc. So that's with your family, right? But even in other situations out in society, you see someone being bullied, you see someone being backbitten. How many times have we seen situations where this has happened and we ourselves feel like, man, I wish I had the courage in this moment to do something, to say something, or at the very least, be strategic about it. Someone is saying something bad about a person. Okay, you can counter that with saying something good about the person, right? Or trying to change the subject. Or someone is being bullied, you can counter that by, going and talking to them, right? If someone else is trying to bully them or, make jokes that are kind of inappropriate with them, okay, you can kind of section off that person that's making these inappropriate jokes and comments and kind of block them out of the conversation, and you can have a direct conversation with this other person to at least make them feel wanted, make them feel heard. Or you could talk to the person who's, making these comments and stuff like that, and maybe make a joke with them that like, yo, bro, like that was kind of out of pocket, or like, what's going on, man? Like, are you good today? All these kind of things, just to kind of call that person out, but in a subtle way. Like, you guys get what I'm saying, right? But my point is, something should be done in these situations. You should not be a passive bystander to situations in which you see someone's honor being ruined, and you're just kind of sitting there watching it happen, and you're just like, man, this is kind of crazy. Like, this is wild. And what pisses me off the most is like this attitude of like, where people like, they want to see drama, they want to see things go bad. It's almost like it makes them happy to see situations go awry. It's like, no, like, you should not be like that. That's actually a terrible quality to have as a person. So there's that as well. Some other examples are in this modern context in society, as a Muslim, having the courage to truly embrace your faith and embrace, what Islam demands of you, in terms of the fact that, we have our 5 daily prayers. You're having the courage to just be upfront about that in work situations, and just telling people, hey, I pray, and I pray 5 times a day. And, if people are curious, explaining to them why you pray. Or if you're fasting in Ramadan, explaining to people why you fast. And, being proud of that identity, and having the courage to be able to express that in situations, especially in situations where people are kind of questioning certain aspects of that, or trying to push back on certain values that you have and stop you from, practicing your religion. Having the courage to, deal with those situations, obviously in a respectful and graceful and prophetic way, but you still need to have that courage to deal with those situations. And there are probably many more examples that you can think of. Oh, another one. Someone has a greater social status than you, right? They're higher than you on the social ladder, let's say. But you see them cheating someone in some way. Or you see them doing something wrong in some way. Having the courage to let that person know that, hey, by the way, this one thing that you're doing, or this other thing that you're doing, I don't think that it's the most ethical thing. Or I don't think that this is the most beneficial thing for you, etc. Obviously, everything I say has a context, right? Like, if someone is way more knowledgeable than you, and they know what they're doing, and you don't really understand this subject or topic, and you're trying to correct this person, that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about when someone is doing something clearly wrong. Like, you're an employee and you have a business owner, and they're clearly like cheating the customers. Like, that's a problem, having the courage to express that and to stand up for what is right in those situations. Or having the courage to let someone know in, let's say you have a community leader at your masjid or something, and there are situations in which maybe the way that they're treating certain people, maybe the way they're handling certain situations is not really the best. It's not really prophetic, and it's pretty clear. It's pretty obvious that, that they are not following a prophetic methodology of leadership. Then you should say something and try to do something and have the courage to deal with those situations that you see in life, because that is what separates someone who is a leader from someone who is just kind of like a passive follower to however the leaders kind of choose to swift and sway the momentum of the moment. And the most beautiful thing, and even this is, amongst the people that are under the shade on the Day of Judgment, is a just ruler, right? A just leader. And this doesn't have to be in the context of like, the president or a leader of a nation, but it's leadership in a variety of contexts. And I think part of what it means to be a just leader is to have that quality of leadership within yourself meshed with justice, so that naturally you have the courage of a leader. You have the courage to challenge the status quo, to push for something that is better. And then you also intrinsically have that quality and that virtue of justice, so that you can deal with other people who maybe have the quality of courage and leadership, but they don't necessarily have that justice. And so they're going to be in positions of leadership and they're going to be swaying the situation in a completely different way. But because you have those qualities within yourself, then inshallah, you can naturally sway the situation in another way, in a more beneficial way, in a more just way, in a way that's beneficial to everyone involved, right? And so I think this is a quality that we should all aspire to. The quality of courage, of standing up for what is right. And in that way, when we have courage, but we have courage to do the right thing. Not necessarily we have like a lot of bravery in ourselves, but it always tends to come out when we want to do the wrong thing. But rather the courage to try to do what's right. If we can have that courage, that's really going to help us get those micro situations and things right. And that's going to affect the macro in our life in a way that simple, discipline and goal setting is not going to be able to do, right? Because this is not just affecting the ability for you to show up, right? Discipline is just, hey, I just need to show up. Courage allows you to say, not only am I going to show up, but when I show up, I'm going to have the courage to impact the situation in a way that is qualitatively very high, so that my presence in this situation is, impactful. It's up there. I'm not just showing up. That's no longer a concern of mine. Another concern of mine is ensuring that I'm adhering to the virtue in this moment. And that is way more beneficial, or rather it adds to that benefit. And I think if you have that quality of courage, it's going to take you very far in this dunya and very far in the akhirah. Because you're always going to be striving for what is best, and you're never going to let the fear prevent you from doing what you know to be right in a certain moment.